Today, the Supreme Court delivered a rare, unanimous decision, one that will echo through the halls of American law and society for years to come. In a country often divided along ideological lines, all 9 justices found common ground, sending a powerful message about the enduring importance of constitutional rights. This landmark ruling is poised to reshape America's approach to gun rights and the authority of police, especially when it comes to the sanctity of the home. The decision underscores the court's commitment to upholding the Constitution, even as the nation grapples with complex questions about safety and individual freedoms. The justices ruled that police cannot seize firearms from private homes without a warrant, even in situations involving mental health crises. This means that, regardless of the circumstances, law enforcement must respect the Fourth Amendment's protections against unreasonable searches and seizures. The decision draws a clear and unwavering boundary. Public safety, while crucial, cannot override constitutional rights without due process. The court emphasized that the government must follow established legal procedures, even when acting in the name of protecting the community. This ruling arrives at a time of intense national debate, as Americans mourn recent tragedies and lawmakers wrestle with how best to prevent future violence. It forces both policymakers and citizens to reconsider the delicate balance between empowering authorities and safeguarding personal freedoms. For gun rights advocates, the decision is a major victory, a reaffirmation of the Second Amendment and a check on government overreach. They see it as a crucial step in protecting the rights of law-abiding citizens. For others, however, it raises concerns about the ability to prevent violence and intervene in dangerous situations. Some fear that the ruling could make it harder for authorities to act quickly when lives are at risk. Internationally, the decision is being closely watched. It signals a strong reaffirmation of individual rights in the United States, complicating the global narrative around gun control and public safety. Other nations may view this as a uniquely American approach to balancing liberty and security. As the country digests this historic ruling, the tension between collective security and personal liberty is now front and center, sparking new conversations, both at home and abroad, about what it truly means to be safe and free in America. The road to this decision is paved with decades of legal battles and shifting interpretations of the Second Amendment. The right to bear arms has been fiercely debated since the founding of the United States, with courts, lawmakers, and citizens all weighing in on what the Constitution truly means for gun ownership and regulation. In 2008, the landmark case District of Columbia versus Heller marked a turning point. The Supreme Court affirmed for the first time that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to possess firearms for self-defense within the home. This decision didn't just clarify the law, it transformed the legal landscape, setting a new standard for how courts would evaluate gun regulations, and sparking a wave of challenges to existing laws across the country. The 2022 Bruin case pushed the boundaries even further. The court ruled that for any new gun regulation to stand, it must be rooted in the nation's historical tradition. This made it significantly harder for states to justify modern gun control measures, demanding that lawmakers look to the past for precedent before enacting new laws. The decision sent shockwaves through state legislatures and courts, forcing a reevaluation of existing policies. Yet, even with these strong protections, the court has recognized exceptions. In cases like U.S. v. Rahimi, the justices have allowed for the removal of firearms from individuals subject to domestic violence restraining orders. These rulings acknowledge the need to balance individual rights with urgent concerns for public safety, especially in situations where there is a clear risk of harm. The Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable searches and seizures adds another layer of complexity. It ensures that law enforcement must tread carefully, often requiring a warrant before entering a home or confiscating property, including firearms. This constitutional safeguard is a cornerstone of American privacy rights, but it can also make it more difficult to intervene quickly in dangerous situations. In 2021, the Supreme Court addressed this tension in Caniglia versus Strom. The justices ruled that police cannot seize guns from a person's home without a warrant under the so-called community caretaking exception. This decision reinforced the importance of judicial oversight, emphasizing that constitutional rights do not yield easily, even in the name of public safety. These rulings have created a complex and often confusing legal environment, especially for individuals experiencing a mental health crisis who have not been formally adjudicated as dangerous. Families, law enforcement, and mental health professionals are left navigating a patchwork of rules, trying to balance the need for intervention with respect for constitutional protections. The stakes are high, as the consequences of inaction or overreach can be severe. In response, states have experimented with a variety of new policies, from red flag laws to emergency risk protection orders, each attempting to address the gray areas left by Supreme Court decisions. This experimentation has led to a patchwork of laws across the nation, with some states embracing stricter controls, and others doubling down on individual rights. The result is a legal landscape that is as varied as it is unsettled, setting the stage for the current Supreme Court showdown. Ultimately, the nation finds itself in a legal tug-of-war between public safety and constitutional rights. Each new case, each new law, adds another layer to the debate, as Americans continue to grapple with the question, how do we protect both our communities and our freedoms in a changing world? To address gun violence, many states have adopted red flag laws, extreme risk protection orders, or ERPOs. These laws let courts temporarily remove firearms from those deemed a threat. With judicial oversight, ERPOs fill a gap. Federal law only bars gun ownership after formal mental health adjudication, leaving many warning signs unaddressed. Some states, like Nevada, went further, allowing police to seize guns immediately during a mental health hold, before a judge reviews the case. Supporters say this saves lives. Critics argue it tramples due process and Second Amendment rights. The core question: can society act quickly in a crisis without violating fundamental liberties? The Supreme Court's decision now demands a more careful balance. The debate over how to intervene, swiftly but constitutionally, remains unresolved. The stakes of this debate became tragically clear on July 28, 2025, when Shane Tamura killed 4 people in Manhattan before taking his own life. Tamura, with a history of mental health crises and prior psychiatric holds, slipped through the cracks of Nevada's new crisis hold law. Despite the law's intent to prevent such tragedies, police failed to seize his firearms. The massacre became a rallying cry for stronger intervention and better law enforcement training. Advocates argue that laws are only as effective as their implementation. The Tamura case is a grim reminder. Missed opportunities can have deadly consequences. It set the stage for urgent legal and political battles over gun seizure policies. In contrast to other cases, a recent lawsuit in New Jersey has brought national attention to the risks of government overreach when it comes to gun rights and mental health interventions. This case serves as a powerful example of how even well-intentioned laws can sometimes have unintended, far-reaching consequences for ordinary citizens. Elsid Aliaj, a law-abiding gun owner, found himself at the center of a legal storm after his wife was mistakenly committed for a mental health evaluation. Despite having committed no crime and having no history of violence, Aliaj's firearms were confiscated by authorities. The incident left him shocked and bewildered, as he had always followed the law and kept his firearms secured. What made the situation even more troubling was that police seized his property without obtaining a warrant or issuing a red flag order. There was no hearing, no opportunity for Aliaj to defend himself, and no evidence that he posed any threat. Yet, authorities refused to return his firearms, leaving him in legal limbo. In response, the Second Amendment Foundation stepped in and filed a lawsuit on Aliaj's behalf. They argued that his constitutional rights had been violated simply because of his association with someone who was temporarily in crisis. The case quickly became a rallying point for advocates concerned about due process and the potential for abuse. The Aliaj case highlights a growing fear among gun owners and civil liberties groups that laws designed to protect the public can be misapplied, resulting in innocent people losing their rights and property. It's a reminder that the line between safety and overreach can be thin and easily crossed. This lawsuit raises a critical and complex question. Can the government justifiably strip away someone's constitutional rights based solely on another person's perceived risk or mental health status? And if so, what safeguards are in place to prevent mistakes and protect the innocent? The ongoing legal battle serves as a stark warning about the dangers of unchecked government power and the potential for constitutional overreach, especially when due process is not strictly observed. As debates over gun seizure policies intensify across the country, The Aliyaj case stands as a crucial counterpoint to calls for more aggressive intervention. It reminds us that protecting public safety must always be balanced with protecting individual rights. Ultimately, the case underscores the urgent need for clear legal limits, robust due process protections, and careful oversight whenever the government intervenes in the lives of its citizens. The Supreme Court's decision has deepened America's political divide over guns. Democrats see it as a setback for public safety, while Republicans hail it as a victory for constitutional rights. The ruling will likely embolden conservative states to loosen gun laws, while others push for new federal standards. The debate reflects two visions, one prioritizing collective security, the other individual liberty. Gun control will remain a central, polarizing issue in upcoming elections. The court's decision is now the new battleground in America's ongoing fight over guns. The economic impact of the Supreme Court's ruling will be felt nationwide. Police departments must retrain officers and revise protocols, straining local budgets. The firearm industry may see a boost as gun owners feel more secure, but political backlash could drive further sales. The societal cost of gun violence remains high, with mass shootings imposing immense financial and emotional burdens. If the ruling is seen as hindering prevention, long-term costs could rise. New waves of litigation are inevitable, adding to public and private expenses. The decision's ripple effects will touch everything from law enforcement to healthcare and the courts. Experts are sharply divided on the ruling's impact. Gun rights advocates, like Alan Gottlieb, see it as a vital defense of constitutional freedoms and a check on government power. Former ATF officials acknowledge the need for intervention, but insist due process must be preserved. Gun violence prevention advocates, like Christian Hain, warn that requiring court orders in every case could delay life-saving action. They argue the decision prioritizes rights over urgent safety needs, especially during mental health crises. The unanimous ruling leaves both sides grappling with how to protect lives without sacrificing liberty. The Supreme Court's decision redefines the debate, demanding solutions that are both effective and constitutional. Lawmakers must now refine red flag laws, making court processes faster and more accessible while protecting due process. Investment in mental health care and better law enforcement training are essential. The ruling is not a win or loss for one side, but a call for more thoughtful, precise policy. The challenge: protect both liberty and life, with empathy for all affected. The court has set the boundaries. It's up to Americans to build a safer society within them. The stakes are high, but the work ahead is vital for the nation's future.